Hey guys, Tim Blake here, and this is just a video because it is Sunday, and this Tuesday, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. will be back. The last episode of Agent Carter just ended this past week, and it was an excellent episode. Not sure if they're going to come back with a season 3, but I think they should. One last season just to close out everything, at least up into the founding of S.H.I.E.L.D. Plus, it did end on a cliffhanger. But this video again is about Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., a show that has become my favorite comic book TV show on TV, which, really took some work because about the most of the first half of the first season wasn't really great to me. I watched it, but I was seriously considering, to put an end to it. There were a couple of episodes within that first run that were very good. The show had a lot of potential, and after the mid-season finale and the Winter Soldier released and the show actually got to come into its own, it's just been nonstop, and it has quickly overthrown my favorite, which was Arrow. And Arrow, still in second place, and still love Arrow. But I want to talk about Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. because those shows on ABC go on extremely long hiatuses for their winter break. And so, can't wait to get back on the episode 11 with, the whole Secret Warriors thing. Them bringing in the Secret Warriors to the show. This video basically is just a general overview of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., the story so far, starting from season 1 through season 2 and up, through the first part of season 3. Now, we start in season 1. Everyone in S.H.I.E.L.D., everyone who was in level 7 in S.H.I.E.L.D. Believed that Coulson was dead, including the Avengers. And we get introduced to this character, Agent Grant Ward, and he's speaking with Maria Hill. And the big reveal shows that Coulson is indeed alive. Now Coulson says that he was out for about 34 seconds. Everyone else says 8. Coulson believes that he was in Tahiti, which he says is a magical place. And we get basically a scene between Agent Maria Hill and one of the doctors who worked on Coulson, saying that he doesn't know and that he can never know what really happened. Now, this moves into the first mission. We meet the team that Coulson's putting together: Agent Grant Ward, Agent Melinda May, who Coulson knows, and she is sitting at a desk. She used to be a field agent, and he has to talk her into actually joining the team because she's done with field work. He says he just needs her to fly the bus, which this bus happens to be a seriously sweet plane. Meet the rest of the team: Fitzsimmons, which is Leo Fitz, and Gemma Simmons, who have been close friends for many years, and they basically are the scientists of the group. Now, the first mission, Ward's been dealing with this group called the Rising Tide. He's it's called a specialist, so he's not used to being on a team, and so they go after a hacker from the Rising Tide, a woman named Sky. Now, Sky happens to be at the point of the big point of the first half of the season, which this guy named Michael Peterson, played by J. August Richards from Angel, he has super strength, and he saves a woman from a building that is exploding. Sky tries to warn him about S.H.I.E.L.D., say they're the scary guys in black suits, and that he needs to protect himself. Sky is picked up by Coulson and team, and Coulson talks her into, S.H.I.E.L.D., they're not the bad guys. They are trying to help. So, from that point on, they have many missions together. Now, it's a very unorthodox group. You do have S.H.I.E.L.D. agents, 3 to be precise, and you have S.H.I.E.L.D. scientists, and then Sky, who's not a S.H.I.E.L.D. member at all, who's just a freelance who is very good at what she does when it comes to hacking. Now, admittedly, the tie-ins from movies at the beginning weren't really great. We had a Thor: The Dark World tie-in where they just showed up in London. Excuse me, up in London after the fight, and did some cleaning up, but nothing too groundbreaking of a crossover. A tie-in to the movie. Then from there, we actually just get some more backstory about some people called May the Calvary, and apparently there was some event that happened in Bahrain, and there's a lot of mixed reports about what actually happened. She took down 30 guys single-handedly, or whatever, but that's not exactly what happened. And we don't, it's a mystery for the first season. Now, getting back to Coulson, because the huge thing is, how in the world, after getting stabbed through the heart by Loki with the scepter, is Coulson alive? Now, Coulson, every time he hears Tahiti, says it's a magical place. And as time goes on, he starts to have doubts. And, he still says it's a magical place, but it's kind of like there's something programmed in that he has to say when he hears Tahiti. Now, eventually, they find out that there's a group called Centipede who are making super soldiers. They're the ones who were behind Mike Peterson, who they were able to save from exploding. And there's a person called the clairvoyant who's able to see things, and he may be a telepath, someone who can read people's thoughts, who can see the future, or he could just be a person with very high clearance levels, or just a very knowledgeable person. So basically, for the first half of the season, they're on a mission to stop Centipede, and eventually Coulson gets captured. And Mike Peterson, he gets blown up on a bridge. Coulson is captured because they want to see what happens, what happened to him the day after he died, which they say is the only thing the clairvoyant cannot see. So basically, we have the team looking for Coulson. They find him, but not before he's put in the machine. Now, this machine allows him to uncover memories of his that he may not be able to remember. And we see what happened. I mean, he was dead for an extremely long time, and the doctors used some alien blood to bring him back. Also, they rewrote his brain to give him a happy memory of Tahiti, and basically, this is how he was able to come back without going crazy. Now, going forward from here, Coulson's on the warpath now because, he was tortured by these people. Plus, S.H.I.E.L.D. kept all of this from him. Coulson was actually begging to die when he had his flashback to his ordeal. And also, Sky, there's things about her. She knows she's an orphan. That's why she hacked S.H.I.E.L.D. to begin with. She wants to find out who her parents were, find anything about her life. And basically, we find that she's what's called an 084, an object of unknown origin. The stories were told that some S.H.I.E.L.D. agents were dispatched to a village in China, but her parents were monsters who killed everyone in the village. And every S.H.I.E.L.D. agent who had something to do with that died except one that gave them the information. The female S.H.I.E.L.D. agent that dropped Sky off at an orphanage was also killed as well. So this puts Sky on the warpath as well once she finds this out. And throughout this entire first part of the season, there's a guy named Ian Quinn who was a billionaire who was working with Centipede, and they are trying to catch him so they can catch Centipede and get to the clairvoyant. So they set up a mission where they're undercover on a train. Very, very great episode. This is really the start of all of the episodes being excellent in season 1. I believe it was episode 13 of season 1, entitled Tracks. Check it out. Great episode. Basically, what happens in the episode is it does a little like the movie Vantage Point, only good, where it shows things from everyone's perspective at once. Eventually, Fitz and Sky track Ian Quinn to a mansion in Italy. And we get there, we find out that Mike Peterson is alive. They give him a robotic leg. The clairvoyant has captured him. And he has a bomb in his head, and he has to follow all the instructions given to him. Ian Quinn shoots Sky in the stomach twice. And basically, they're able to save her for the time being by putting her in a hyperbolic time chamber. Hyperbolic time chamber, like this Dragon Ball Z. A hyperbaric chamber to lower her pressure and raise her temperature, or raise her pressure and lower her temperature. Sorry about that. And basically, they find out after being joined by John Garrett, played by the excellent Bill Paxton, that they found the facility where Coulson was treated in this whole Tahiti program. They find a blue alien in this bunker. However, Coulson's the only one who sees it. They get this drug that they use on Sky that saves her. There were two guys at the bunker, only two people there, and they died to protect it, and it was blown up. So this was a plan, according to Ian Quinn, to bring the clairvoyant to the place where Coulson was treated. After this, some serious tasks are being taken to take down Centipede, specifically the clairvoyant, and Deathlock, who Mike Peterson has become with his robotic leg. Also, he received an upgrade where he can shoot missiles out of his arm, and metal up under his skin. It's pretty bad. He's being forced to do this, which really makes it difficult to watch. Now, after this, we see that we go on a mission to find the clairvoyant. They're led to a retirement home where a fellow S.H.I.E.L.D. agent is injured. Now, with Agent Garrett came another specialist that took Ward's place, named Agent Triplet. Now, Agent Triplet, he's pretty much the opposite of Ward. He's very charismatic. He has a thing for Jenna Simmons, and he's a pretty good guy. Now, the reason why I bring that up is basically he's with Garrett all the time, and they get who they believe is the clairvoyant, who's a guy who is basically just in a wheelchair. He can't move. It makes it seem like he's speaking through a computer. He's talking about Sky and how they need to get to Sky. They're going to kill her, basically. Ward, who has feelings for Sky, technically have feelings for each other, but he shoots this guy. Everyone believes the clairvoyant is dead. However, Coulson gets suspicious. And at this moment, after Simmons has been dropped off at the hub along with Agent Triplet, the plane gets rerouted going toward the hub. Now, it's at this point in time that the movie, the excellent movie Captain America: The Winter Soldier, was released, and we found out that Hydra had been in S.H.I.E.L.D. for 70 years. Now, that information is let out, and the Hydra signal is found. So there's this huge thing. Turns out John Garrett was the clairvoyant. He just used his S.H.I.E.L.D. clearance to find out all of this information. And since Nick Fury hid the information, it wasn't official, he couldn't find that information out. What did he want this information for? Well, funny you should ask, because even he gets captured. But Ward, having been with Garrett for a long time, is also a Hydra agent as well. Garrett is basically the first Deathlock. He is dying, and he needs the information about Tahiti to save himself. Basically, that's why he decided to go with Hydra. Now, Ward, had a rough childhood. Parents really weren't very supportive. He was, according to him, picked on by his older brother. His older brother forced him to throw his younger brother down a well. It's basically the through line with Ward. That's what he keeps saying, happened to him. Now, only people who, at this point, though, Coulson and the rest of the team, they aren't aware that Ward is a traitor. because he was off site when he killed the S.H.I.E.L.D. agents escorting uh, Garrett to the fridge, which is the big S.H.I.E.L.D. prison that they have. Also, during this time, Coulson and the rest of the team have a lot to worry about because the government is after S.H.I.E.L.D. Black Widow put all of their information on the internet. So they get their identity scrubbed and they have to flee. They go to a secret bunker called Providence in the middle of the mountains. And, from that point, they try to figure out what's going to happen. And Coulson is very upset with May at this point because he found out she had a line to Nick Fury and she was aware of the Tahiti project and what went on with that. And she was basically spying on him for Nick Fury to make sure that he did not go crazy. Now, that being said, Coulson, of course, extremely upset. But it's a spy organization, so it was kind of hypocritical. We meet the cellist that was hinted at in the first Avengers movie, who believes that Coulson is dead, and basically the team returns, finds that May had left due to the fact that Coulson was angry with her, and S.H.I.E.L.D. and Ward are gone. Now, Ward came back to the Providence base basically to get some information that the team all had, everything they had worked on from the beginning of the first season up to this point. And yes, we're still in the first season. Basically, she encrypted the information so they couldn't open it. So he came back to get Skye so that she can decrypt the information and they could have the information about the drug from Tahiti to help Garrett. Now, during this time, there is a agent who was the caretaker of the Providence base, Eric Koenig, played by Patton Oswalt, and Ward killed him, and him and S.H.I.E.L.D. left. However, S.H.I.E.L.D. realized, as she found his body, realized Ward was Hydra, so decided to go with him to basically play him, to stall for time so the team could help. Coulson and the rest of the team gets back. S.H.I.E.L.D. and Ward aren't there. May isn't there. They find Koenig's body. It's very emotional because Fitz really looked up to Ward. They were real close. Ward was like an older brother than him, and Fitz wasn't happy at all. Neither was Simmons. The team basically had to, figure everything out. Find S.H.I.E.L.D. to save her. And at this point, we enter Maria Hill. She shows up with the General Talbot, who is the government official who has been chasing after S.H.I.E.L.D. And after some clever outmaneuvering, and actually physical outmaneuvering as well, because they beat up Talbot and the rest of his soldiers, they leave. They find Ward. They get S.H.I.E.L.D. back, but S.H.I.E.L.D. was forced to decrypt the drive. And so the team basically is with no backup, no help. It's just them. May comes back, however. Coulson has forgiven her. May comes back and she gives him the information and tells him that he was actually the director of the Tahiti project. She plays a video in which he is giving his resignation to Nick Fury about the TV project, which was initially supposed to be to prevent the fall of an Avenger. Now, with this, they have to find a way to track down Garrett. And they have to stop him, and because, that's their job. They're to stop Hydra. Garrett technically is part of Hydra. So, everyone knows Ward is a traitor, of course, and we get a little flashback episode, kind of, where we see Ward's childhood. He was in juvie when Garrett first recruited him, and basically, he feels that he owes Garrett everything, which is why he's doing what he is doing. Even at the expense of his team, who he had spent so much time with. Now, Ward actually does have genuine feelings for Skye. He's really in love with her, doesn't change anything about him, but he is still working for Garrett. So the team splits up. They go to a barbershop where the headquarters of Garrett was. Skye, Trip, May, and Coulson. And Fitz and Simmons, they go to find the plane, which they do. However, Coulson's 3 hours away, and Fitz and Simmons gets captured. Now, Fitz uses a EMP because Trip, he is the grandson of a Howling Commando, which were the group of people who worked with Captain America during World War II. And he uses his EMP, shorts out Garrett's cybernetic programs, but Garrett uses all of the drug from Tahiti, which is the alien blood, on himself to save him. Also in this episode, Ward pushes a button to drop Fitz and Simmons in the ocean. They went to a containment unit, and Ward drops them into the ocean. So in the last episode, Nick Fury, he returns to help. Fitz and Simmons are saved. However, Fitz, he admits to Simmons that he has feelings for her, that he doesn't say the words he's in love with her. However, he makes clear that he has more than just friendship feelings for her. And he basically sacrifices his own self to save her, which fortunately Nick Fury was there to pull them both out of the ocean. And he goes to help Coulson and company as they raid Centipede. Now, Centipede, of course, being a subunit of a company called Cybertech. Now, Deathlock, of course, is under Garrett's control, and he's basically there to protect Garrett, who has gone crazy, as only Bill Paxton can do. And he basically has all of these thoughts in his head because of the alien drug, and he's writing these weird symbols over everywhere, and Ward is worried about him. And Ward, we see that Ward, he is not a person who can think for himself. He's asking Garrett to tell him what to do, which Garrett tells him to go get Sky once they find, out that Sky is in the Cybertech facility. Now, Mike Peterson has a son named Ace, which Ace was kidnapped by Hydra. And they've been blackmailing Mike Peterson or Deathlock into doing all these horrible things. So, basically, they rescue Ace, Mike's son, let him know, and in the big fight between Coulson, Garrett, who's a lot stronger, and Nick Fury, Mike Peterson is able to overpower Garrett and deliver the finishing blow. Now, this being said, there's a lot of other little details that I didn't get into that I'm going to go ahead and, before I end the video on Season 1, I'm going to go ahead and get into a couple of things. Now, Garrett had employed a woman named Raina. Raina, she always wore flower dresses, and she is, even though she's a bad guy, she's someone who is looking for answers to something, so she's aligning herself with someone she thought was clairvoyant. Turns out that he wasn't, but there's a big through line here, that there's something special about Sky. Apparently, she's some kind of alien or monster. We don't know at this point what she is, but Raina and Sky have some kind of connection. So at the end of the season, one of the last things we see is Raina bringing a picture of Sky to a man who is Sky's father, and he's covered in blood. We don't get to see his face, just his arm covered in blood, and that was it. Now, also some other minor things. Nick Fury made Coulson the director of S.H.I.E.L.D., gave him a cube, a metallic cube called the Toolbox, and they went to another base called the Playground, which was run by Billy Koenig, Eric Koenig's brother, who looks identical to him. If you're wondering why I don't call him his twin brother, stay tuned for my next video, which will go over Season 2. And I'll get into that, those details more then. However, we also see the very last scene. Coulson gets up out of bed and starts to write the exact same symbols that Garrett was writing himself. And the season ends. So, this video ran a little bit longer than I wanted it to, but that's just the first catch-up, so to speak, as far as the story so far with Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Now, it's Sundays. It's coming back Tuesday. So tomorrow I plan on doing seasons 2 and the first 10 episodes of season 3 to get fully caught up. Again, hope you guys enjoy the video. Drop a like below, rate, subscribe, comment, everything. Give me your suggestions. But that's the video. Thanks guys. Tim Plague out. Peace.